You ever play a game so good that you just can't believe it didn't blow up? Like, how did this not become a household name? Some games just slipped through the cracks. Maybe bad timing, maybe bad marketing, or maybe people were just too busy playing something else. But that doesn't mean they don't deserve their moment in the spotlight. So today, we're diving into some of the most underrated, underappreciated, and criminally overlooked games that deserve way more love than they got. L.A. Noire. This game was ahead of its time. A detective thriller set in 1940s Los Angeles. It puts you in the shoes of Cole Phelps, a cop climbing the ranks while solving a series of dark, gripping cases. But what really set it apart? The motion scan technology. Every character's face was captured with an insane level of detail, allowing you to read expressions during interrogations. You had to figure out if someone was lying just by the subtle way they moved their eyes or tensed their jaw. It was like playing a classic noir film. But here's the thing. A lot of people expected another Grand Theft Auto. And when they got a slow-burn detective drama instead, they just didn't know what to do with it. But if you love crime stories, mystery, and an atmospheric world that pulls you in, this one is a must-play. Bulletstorm. Imagine an FPS that doesn't just want you to shoot enemies. It wants you to humiliate them in the most ridiculous ways possible. That's Bulletstorm. This game is pure, chaotic fun. You get rewarded for creativity. Kicking enemies into spikes? Bonus points. Lassoing someone into the air and blasting them mid-flight? Even more points. It's a game that just gets how to make shooting feel good. The movement is fast. The combat is wild. And the story? Over the top in the best way possible. But for some reason, it just didn't catch fire. Maybe because it didn't take itself seriously when the industry was all about realism. But if you just want an absolute blast of an FPS, trust me, play Bulletstorm. Bully. Rockstar does open worlds better than anyone. And Bully is one of their most creative, most unique, and most underrated games ever. You're not a gangster, not a criminal, just a rebellious kid trying to survive in a prep school filled with cliques, bullies, and strict teachers. Think GTA, but in high school. You can attend classes, pull pranks, ride your skateboard through town, and slowly rise to the top of the school's social hierarchy. It's got charm, it's got humor, and it's one of Rockstar's most inventive games. But despite all the love it gets now, it never got the sequel it deserved. Maybe one day, but until then, it's still an absolute classic. Prototype. This is a straight-up power fantasy. You play as Alex Mercer, a man infected with a virus that turns him into an unstoppable, shape-shifting monster. You can run up skyscrapers, absorb people's memories, turn your arms into massive blades. The movement is fluid, the combat is satisfying, and the destruction is just straight-up insane. It had everything going for it, but it got overshadowed by Infamous, a game that came out around the same time with a similar concept. And while Infamous is great, Prototype had this raw, chaotic energy that made it unforgettable. If you ever wanted to feel like an uncontainable force of destruction, this is the game for you. Mad Max, a game that perfectly captures the wasteland. Mad Max is brutal, gritty, and immersive in a way few open-world games manage to be. You're scavenging for resources, building up your car, getting into intense vehicular battles where every hit feels heavy. And the world? It's harsh, it's unforgiving, but it's alive. The atmosphere alone makes this game worth playing. But it got released at the same time as Metal Gear Solid 5. And that meant a lot of people just never gave it a shot. But if you love post-apocalyptic worlds, insane car combat, and a game that just feels right, play Mad Max. Burnout. Racing games are great, but Burnout was something special. This series wasn't just about winning races. It was about wrecking your opponents in the most spectacular ways possible. Huge crashes, slow-motion destruction, a sense of speed that made your heart race. Burnout Paradise gave us an open-world playground to cause mayhem in. But even before that, Burnout 3 Takedown was an absolute masterpiece. The series has been dormant for way too long, and honestly, we need it back. Titanfall 2. This one hurts. Titanfall 2 had one of the best FPS campaigns of all time. No exaggeration. The movement was buttery smooth. The gunplay was perfection. And the time travel level, one of the most genius pieces of level design ever created. And on top of that, the multiplayer was phenomenal. But EA decided to release it right between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, and just got crushed. Such a shame, because this game deserved so much more. Sleeping Dogs. Think GTA, but with kung fu combat and an undercover cop story that actually hits. Sleeping Dogs is one of the most underrated open-world crime games ever made. You play as Wei Shun, infiltrating the Triads. And the combat? Brutal, stylish, satisfying. The world building? Incredible. The story? So much better than it had any right to be. But it never got a sequel. And that's one of gaming's biggest tragedies. If you haven't played it yet, you're missing out on something truly special. Midnight Club, Rockstar's other racing series. Midnight Club was all about high-speed, adrenaline-fueled street racing, open-world cities, insane customization, and a vibe that no racing game has really captured since. Midnight Club Los Angeles was the last entry, and while people have been begging Rockstar to bring it back, we're still waiting. But if you love racing games and never played Midnight Club, you need to check it out. Splinter Cell, the king of stealth games. Sam Fisher is one of gaming's most iconic spies, and Splinter Cell redefined stealth gameplay with its light and shadow mechanics, brutal takedowns, and incredibly tense missions. Chaos Theory, a masterpiece. Blacklist, a fantastic evolution of the series. But now, Ubisoft just refuses to bring it back. And that's painful, because gaming needs more Splinter Cell. We need more Sam Fisher, and we need stealth games done right. And there you have it, some of the best games that never got the love they deserved. If you played any of these, let me know which ones are your favorites. And if you haven't, you just found some absolute bangers to add to your backlog. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.